morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos and his name is Bill Rice Jr. And it's Today in L.A., not Los Angeles, but Lower Alabama. Hope that you're having a good morning. It's a fairly chilly morning, and it's
I thought,
pleasant.
I wore my big heavy coat and I got outside and it wasn't that cold at all. I just don't know what's going to happen with the weather.
Next week, freezing weather's coming in here.
We finally had, I think, back-to-back sunny days, which allowed the grass to dry out a little bit so people could cut their grass or rake their leaves. I know Dwayne Webb, my neighbor, he's got that one of the most pretty yards in Troy, and he can finally get out and work on his yard on Sunday afternoon. Jack has one of these little battery-operated dune buggies Santa brought him for Christmas, and most days, because we've had so much rain, we can't get out there and ride it. But on Saturday, we could get out there and ride it around a little bit.
Of course, we mentioned cold weather. It'll be by the middle of the week, but it's supposed to be the high on Wednesday. I think Wednesday or Thursday is 40 degrees, the high. That's pretty cold. Yeah. And so cold weather is not gone, I promise you. And you need to some people like it, it might even snow,
And just
as long as I don't have to do anything.
I would not last long in Minnesota for very long. Maybe 4 days, and I would say, get me back to Alabama.
And the key to all that is having to shovel your way out of the driveway, which is, snow's heavy.
I know it.
And you just think how gruesome it is for older people like me.
People die of heart attacks doing it all the time.
Digging the way out of the driveway to get out of there.
On the list of things I have never done in my life and probably never will do is digging snow out of the driveway. Is one thing I've never done. I've never jumped out of an airplane with a parachute on.
I want to mention our good friend that I was over there Saturday morning eating breakfast, and a bunch of my old buddies came in there to Delta Kai's and working on that house.
I want to do a story on those guys.
And it really is pretty. They've done a great job, and that bird drug, and of course they enjoyed the breakfast and the camaraderie. About 8 or 10 guys, all met in there, and they were heading back to the old house, and they seemed like they were having fun.
Well, they're pretty soon going to have a show place. They're slowly but surely restoring that house that I would have thought was unrestorable. Yeah. And I guess their idea is they're going to have a fun little clubhouse they can use however they want, and for get-togethers, and all the fall events.
One thing that I'm sad about was the McGee house, or the old funeral home. Yeah. A friend of mine was fixing to buy it and fix it up.
Oh man! And
he said it was more easier to fix up than the
Delta Kai
house. Wouldn't that have been something to have two houses fixed up like that?
It would have.
And I saw somebody working on the other house, which is next to Piggly Wiggly, this weekend.
From time to time, there've been people that have done a little work. But I just wish I can remember what those houses looked like in their prime, and you can.
I can, by the way. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hi, morning.
Where are you calling from, sir?
Great Beach, Florida.
Where's Great Beach, Florida? You don't sound like you're down at the beach. How in the world do you get our show from the beach?
I just finished the 30A Wine Festival yesterday. I have not a whole lot to give.
Yeah, you're really a fine one, boy. I tell you, they don't laugh, but did you have a lot of customers?
Yeah, every event was sold out, so it was a lot of people, to say the least.
Do they have a big event? Do they have a big event at the end at Sandestin?
Yeah, everything's held at Alice Beach. You'd had a great time yesterday, Dad. It was rosé and croquet, so it was all the rosé.
And you were playing croquet.
Croquet you could play. They won a big trophy that was bigger than the Stanley Cup.
Oh, really? Yeah, I hadn't seen.
Everybody went crazy when the winners were announced at the very end.
Okay, well that's something. A lot of yuppies around there.
Yeah, there was a few.
I call them the beautiful people.
All dressed up in their knickers and all that.
No, everybody was required to wear white.
Oh, really? Did you wear white?
I wore a little bit of white. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like fun.
It was a whiteout, like the Penn State football games.
You know what?
It was also a Mardi Gras theme as well. So they cooked a couple of whole hogs and had crawfish, and it was quite a party.
I read something recently talking about the whiteout. Penn State won it again. They're tailgating and they're pre-game and
it's considered the best.
And their what they call game day
Experience.
was number one.
How about that?
And and they do white out as good as anybody in football. I mean, they really white out.
I look. It's like, where's Waldo? I try to look for the one person who's not wearing all white in the 100,000 seat stadium. We had a Mardi Gras party downtown on the square Saturday night. No, my wife was at another event at the Emporium, so I wasn't going to take those two kids by myself.
I
watched a report on WSFA. It looked like they had a real good crowd.
Yeah, I think our friend that works for WSFA was one of the people putting it on. The band sounded really good, and I rode through there, and I came with a hair of pulling in there, but I had to preach Sunday at my church, so I had better things and more things to do than go to the Mardi Gras party.
Well, as usual, there's a lot going on in Troy, Alabama. I mentioned that my wife went to a unique event at the Emporium. One of her teachers is Judith Parks, an English teacher that also teaches drama at Charles Henderson High School. Beautiful singing voice and actress, and she and three other people did a little performance that was part singing and part acting with spoken parts. Sounds real unique. A benefit for the Resiliency Project, and I don't know what the Resiliency Project is. But my wife said it was really, really good and different. So that was going on at the Emporium, and around the corner you had the Mardi Gras Festival.
Who won the golf tournament, Mike? I've got a good idea.
Your favorite golfer, Patrick Reed, won it.
Patrick Reed, and the other guy shot 61, and he still won it.
Well, Patrick Reed was pretty flawless down the stretch. DeChambeau bogeyed 18, and then you had Justin Thomas, who just played horrible. I mean, which was the shock of all. I think he finished +2 in the final group. So Reed, all he had to do was bogey 18, and he bogeyed and won.
I like him. I'm glad he did win. You know.
Well, Justin Thomas.
Everybody hates him because they think he's a cheater, and he had all kinds of issues at the Masters because he won that, but then it turns out that he doesn't talk to his family at all, and apparently had some cheating things talked about when he was at the University of Georgia, and then he transferred to not Columbus, but Augusta State.
Yeah.
So he's always had a lot of issues. His brother-in-law is his caddy, and he got in a fight at the President's Cup this year with a fan, and was removed from the tournament the rest of the time they were there.
Oh,
so
boy.
There's always something going on, but I mean, your favorite analyst, Brandel Chamblee, thinks he's a cheat.
Brandel Chamblee thinks he's a cheat. Oh gosh, I hate that. But he's a winning cheat.
Don't people say that he's been criticized for slow play too? Is that true?
That's DeChambeau. He's a slow player.
Oh, he's a slow player. Well, Justin Thomas that played at Alabama, he had a one-shot lead going into the final round, and then there was just two guys that were one shot behind him, and then the rest of the field was 4 or 5 back. So he had a pretty big lead. And like you say, he just fell apart. And I don't know, I didn't watch it early on, but he must have had a lot of bogeys or big scores early in the round because he was a non-factor on Sunday.
I want to mention Premier, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks, and I've got one right outside, and I love it. It drives splendidly, and drop by and see my good friend Jason Gregory at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass. And I want to mention the defending state champions, There's 6 of them that will start the state tournament in Montgomery this week, and 2 of the teams. One of them is the Charles Henderson, undefeated Charles Henderson High School girls, and the other one is the Pike County Bulldogs. Mike, how about them?
Yeah, we need to mention also the Elba girls are in it in 1A.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and so is we'll just go down it real quick here this morning. Looking at
Charles Henderson, I think, plays at 3:00 on Wednesday.
Did we find out who they're playing?
Yeah, they were playing Center Point, like I mentioned.
Center Point, Charles Henderson, 27-0, and they're the only undefeated team in the I think in the tournament. And of course, they play Center Point, who's 23-5 out of Birmingham. They play Wednesday at 3. Shelby County, if Charles Henderson wins, they'll play the winner of the Shelby County 27-4 versus the Madison Academy team out of Huntsville 30-4. I'm sure they'll be good. That'll be on Wednesday. The bad thing, the sad thing about Charles Henderson girls, they haven't been tested all year long.
Yeah.
Nobody has come close to them, and
the closest was
Rams
Ramsey.
game was 49-40.
You know, 9 points. That's still pretty good. But I'm proud of them. And then the Pike County Bulldogs, and don't forget Barber County. They're in it, Mike. And Lafayette's boys. Here it is.
All right.
Lafayette's boys are 31-0.
Ooh.
You know where Lafayette is?
It's in
Next to Valley.
Chambers County.
no,
right?
it's in Louisiana, about in the middle of about an hour and a half from
No, this
Troy
is
plays in football.
This is Lafayette, Alabama, and they're located in Chambers County, and of course they're 31-0, and their boys play at 4:30 on Monday or today. But let's look at these other teams. One of them is Pike County, and Pike County 22-6 plays Hanceville 18-12 at 10:30 on Tuesday. This is all from the Jefferson County Civic Center, right downtown Birmingham.
I know where Hanceville is because I'm working on a story on Griff McCrary signing with Wallace State Community College in Hanceville, which is right next to Coleman.
Yeah. And G.W. Long, beware of G.W. Long, Mike. Their girls are 26-5, and they play in the 2A championships starting today at 3 p.m. So there's going to be a caravan of Long folks. Look out on the bypass right now, G.W. Long, and they'll be heading to Birmingham. They're already headed to Birmingham, I reckon, because they play this morning or this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Okay, they'll play at Collinsville, and Collinsville's one of those North Alabama teams.
Never
A lot of people think they play better basketball in North Alabama than they do in South Alabama. I've heard that.
I think the stats and the victors of state championships would prove that out.
And Collinsville is 27-3, and if G.W. Long wins on today, they'll play. They'll play.
I want to interrupt you and make a point on what you just said, Mike, about who plays the better basketball, North or South Alabama. Who plays the better football? I would say there's probably more state champions that have come from North Alabama in football too. And the reason is probably simple, as the population is bigger in North Alabama. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're right. It's a laid back television.
I can interrupt whenever I want to.
Exactly, it's laid back, and of course I want to talk about Pike County again. That big guy, the 6'8" kid, is leading them. But when I did the game live of Charles Henderson Pike County game just a couple of weeks ago from Brundage, and I could tell then that Charles Henderson 5A team is pretty good, but they didn't have near the players that Pike County did. And Pike County, Mike, is coached by a very good friend of yours, and he knows how to win, doesn't he?
Well,
I think they're coached by Doug Holland.
Doug Holland, yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know. I remember Doug. He's one of my favorite players at Pike County.
Doug's older than me, but mean, I've definitely met him before, but
Doug, like you mentioned, Doug Holland is Fred Holland's brother, and they're just great coaches. They're good guys and great coaches. The kids respect them.
Doug was the quarterback of the football team back when I was sports editor of the Messenger, probably in the early 90s.
Boy, you look at him now, you wouldn't think he was a quarterback.
He was then. Number 12.
Yeah, but of course, he is a very good
Well, let's
coach.
talk about Pike County has a chance to win the state championship in basketball, which will be their first ever, I'm pretty sure.
And they play Tuesday at 10:30.
But didn't we all think they were going to win the state championship in football? They were undefeated.
I thought they were pretty good. You're right.
They were beating the slop out of everybody. And they finally got upset by T.R. Miller, I think, in the playoffs. They've had a very good sports year, in other
I'll
words.
tell you, not only are they good, they're well coached, and that means a lot too. And now, how about this? They'll play the winner of the Hill County, who is 18-10, and Lauderdale County 25-7. That's way deep.
yeah, but Hill County is always great in basketball. They probably played a real tough schedule.
And Lauderdale County also up there around Huntsville, Florence is awfully good. They're 27-7, 25-7. They played today, Tuesday at 1:30. Pike County plays at 10:30. So if you're going, you better get in your Jeep right now and go. A Jeep from Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep on the bypass right here in Troy. If your Jeep is running, you better get in it right now if you want to see that game. Is
You
that
can
right?
make it if you leave right now, yeah.
You've made that trip many times. Could they make it if they left right now?
Yeah, 7:14, easy. I think
Well,
Birmingham 2 hours 20
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly. Yeah,
They're going to hit that rough traffic in Birmingham, though, that morning traffic.
like it's,
You'd be going the right direction.
if they win, if Pike County wins, they play at 2:15 on Friday, so that would be a lot of fun to go up there. GW Long's girls, we've already mentioned. Well, we haven't mentioned them. They're in the tournament. They play today at 3. They're 26-5, so you could actually. All right, and then they're playing Collinsville, 27-3. Central of Hayneville, another local team, 25-3, versus Cold Springs, 30-4. Hey, those Cold Springs girls can play too.
I'm going to take your word for it.
They play today at Long at 3 and Cold Springs at 6. Barber County, the boys, congratulations to the boys from Barber County, and they're 25-10, and as we mentioned, they play Lafayette out of Chambers County, 31-0. They play at 4:30 today, so you can go up and see some good basketball along with Skipperville and some other local teams today, and then get a look at the boys from Barber County. If Barber County wins, they'll play the winner of the Calhoun 19-12 versus Red Bay 23-9. Mike, who do you know from Red Bay that is of significance?
Van Tiffin.
Van Tiffin. That's where. Tell us what is made there in Red Bay, Alabama.
Tiffin Motorhomes.
What else is made there?
In Red Bay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dog food.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have. I can't tell you the name.
You're saying Pike County plays today? I've got Pike County
Tuesday.
playing tomorrow.
I said they played it Tuesday. I hope.
Okay.
You know what? Everybody associates Red Bay with Van Tiffin. Isn't it funny, though, that Van Tiffin's son was an All-American place kicker at Alabama? He was there in Saban's first year. The last year Alabama had a field goal kicker they could count on. And nobody can probably even remember Van Tiffin's son's first name.
Lee Tiffin. That's right.
Well, of course, Michael good. But you know, that's what Lee was a much better kicker than Van, but he never kicked one from 52 yards to win the Iron Bowl. That's the difference.
And I promise you, if you watch that film, he was inbounds when he tackled that. The officials blew that one. Today they'd have a camera on it, and Auburn would have won.
Yeah, you made that point. You're probably right.
Greg Richardson.
Yeah, that's right. How did you know that? Are you looking at a computer?
Well, they've probably seen the highlights, the replay a million times.
I've got that computer in my head. That's pretty easy to remember that game.
Yeah, okay.
Let me tell you.
Hey, it's good.
The rest of more on the Tiffin family. I'm surfing the TV this weekend, and I find a replay of the 2007 Alabama-Georgia game in Tuscaloosa. Saban's first year. The quarterback for Georgia is Matt Stafford. That's now was the number one pick. That's now the Detroit Lions. Y'all remember that game? I was at it.
Alabama did something late in that ball game.
Yeah, well, here's what happened. Here's what you'll remember the game for. I made my wife watch it to see this. Georgia's leading 20-10 in the fourth quarter, but darn if Alabama doesn't come back. Tie it.
Shula's the quarterback.
No, John Parker Wilson.
Right.
This is Saban's first year at Alabama.
I think Alabama's undefeated. It's early in the season. The crowd is really into it. That's one thing I noticed.
Yeah.
But Alabama ties the game and sends it into overtime on a field goal by Lee Tiffin, 20-20. That's when that crazy announcer for ESPN, and then Alabama kicks the field goal in their first possession in overtime to take the lead, 23-20. So Alabama can beat Georgia if they just stop Georgia, right, on the next stop. The crazy announcer for ESPN, he's working with Todd Blackledge. That's when he starts talking about Britney Spears. He says, I got a serious question for you. What in the world is happening to Britney Spears? This is right before Georgia's first play, and then Todd Blackledge says, what? And he says, Britney. He says, who's that? Why are we talking about Britney? 2 seconds later, Stafford drops back, throws a touchdown pass, and Georgia beats Alabama. So it's the Britney Spears game.
Oh, God.
That was Mike Patrick.
Thank you. Do you remember that, Michael?
Did he lose his job?
No.
Well, it's just one of those clips that a lot of people play on radio stations during shows and stuff. It's just kind of like one of those comedian kind of clips that people just can't believe that was said.
He's normally a good announcer, but I don't know.
Well, and Georgia beat Alabama.
On the first down with Georgia's first possession, Stafford drops back, throws a streak pattern in the corner of Bryant Denny, and
all right, my
that's
computer, which is going dead as we speak, my computer. When I want to say Mike Shula beat Georgia one game, Mike. Am I right or wrong?
Well, he came back and beat Ohio State. I remember that game.
As a quarterback, as a quarterback he did.
I know. Look at that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about as a quarterback.
Not a coach. Okay, yeah, he did.
Mike Shula beat Georgia.
You want to tell you the story? I know it.
Yeah, tell it. Okay. This guy doesn't know it. You're right.
I was at school then. Mike Shula and I were buddies in class.
No, you actually know Mike Shula.
No. Candy Whitman is from Troy was good buddies with him, though. Coach Whitman's daughter.
Really?
Yeah, they were good friends. Shula, Alabama plays in Georgia his senior year, and it's a defensive struggle the whole game. And then late in the game, Alabama gets the ball, one chance to win, and darn if Mike Shula doesn't drive that team all the way down the field in about 2.5 minutes. Touchdown pass to Cool Al Bell. Everybody remember Al Bell?
That's who I was thinking about. Okay.
And Alabama wins the game in the last minute.
Well, and Shula was a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite pictures of all time in Tuscaloosa is at Galette's. It's Shula, Cornelius Bennett, Derek Thomas, and Howard Cross all like out and about in Tuscaloosa, out at the bar or something. That's one of my favorite pictures you'll see.
Those guys used to always come. I remember Cornelius Bennett used to always come over to our fraternity house. He was nice.
Was he the hero?
He was treated like,
And everybody,
LeBron James would be treated.
He didn't, say he didn't have to bring the beer. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. You know who I remember talking to in the front yard at the Second New House? Real nice guy was Kerry Good. And I've talked a lot about here on this show that if what might have been players, he just had a terrible knee injury when he might have been a Heisman candidate if he hadn't had that knee injury. And now he's battling Lou Gehrig's disease. He's in real rough shape.
That is shape. Yeah, I remember Pierre Good, 98 or 99 yards. He caught a pass from The young man out of South Carolina. What was his name? That quarterback.
Yeah, well, your son would probably know.
Joe Dunn. Man, what'd you say his name was?
I thought it was Kevin Dunn.
Not Kevin Dunn.
I think it was last name Jeff Dunn.
Jeff Dunn. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
All right, he was from the Carolinas. Alabama in the 60s had another quarterback from the Carolinas that came in, and he was one of those guys that Alabama signed all these great quarterbacks that never played a lot. Y'all know who I'm talking about? I'll even give you the first name, Naib.
Boy, this must be before my time. That's a good trivia question.
Naib. His first name was Naib.
Who did he
And he was from the Carolinas, and Jeff Dunn was from the Carolinas, I want to say. And he threw that long touchdown pass.
I thought the star quarterback was supposed to be Billy Ray.
No, Billy Ray, I know it, but this guy was a great one too, out of the Carolinas.
Then you had Vince Sutton.
Y'all want me to answer the question?
Yeah.
Neb Hayden. Have y'all ever heard that name, Neb Hayden?
No.
Well, there's Alabama fans out there that do. You know, I was
When did Neb play approximately?
He played in the late 70s. He played in the 70s.
He probably was there about close to the same time as Butch Hobson played quarterback.
Yeah, Butch Hobson, he was one of my favorite baseball players. You know, he had a lot of home runs for Boston.
I was a huge Red Sox fan when I was a kid.
He played third base.
Played with Jim Rice and all those guys.
Sure did.
He ended up becoming manager.
Yeah, sure did. And Hobson, they always they always wanted to throw Bear Bryant in there every time he come to bat. He played at Alabama.
Played football at Alabama.
Yeah. Who was a great?
He was one of those others, like you say. Coach Bryant always recruited quarterbacks. He'd have about 10.
Yeah.
Half of them he would make defensive backs.
I'm full of questions this morning. This gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Let's see here where
I remember Ken Coley, who was the third string quarterback that came in. No, not him.
He didn't play much.
Not Coley. He was one. Who was the guy that was the agent for Payne Stewart that died in the plane crash?
That was the Winchester rifle, Robert Fraley.
Fraley, thank you.
So I win first. So I'm right now. If I get 5 stars, I get a free Coke.
Ken Coley was a third-string quarterback at Alabama that had his moments, but Fraley,
he was an option quarterback.
Yeah.
Option quarterback.
He hurt his knee, which a lot of these option quarterbacks did, including Don Jacobs and Stedman Shuley.
Yeah.
But Fraley was pretty darn good quarterback, and the first 2 guys got hurt, and he won some big games for Alabama as a starter.
What great Auburn player came out of Hollywood, Florida. One of my all-time favorite players, and he was an Auburn player, but I like this guy a lot.
I remember Auburn having some players from Hollywood, Florida.
You remember him, Mike?
I think they've had a couple from Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah, I don't know.
Terry Beasley came out of Montgomery, Mike. He came out of Robert E. Lee High School in Montgomery. Bomb. I'm going to give you a bomb.
Tucker Frederickson.
You got it. Tucker Frederickson. Now, you're looking at stuff, though, aren't you?
No, I just know people you've talked about before on the show.
The great Tucker Frederickson. And he was a Auburn tailback. And
Hollywood, Florida's what, near Miami?
Yeah, right outside Miami. He's I think he graduated in the School of Veterinary Medicine. He looked like a movie star, and he did. I tell you, people said players didn't get paid. Well, he was modeling band shirts, or what kind of there were band line shirts.
He was a model.
For one of these big clothing companies. And let me tell you, I'll give you a little story. Tucker Frederickson was an idol especially Auburn folks. Handsome guy, real handsome guy, and all the girls just loved him. And,
it's like John Parker Wilson. All the girls loved John Parker Wilson.
I was out at the Red Wave Drive-In, owned by my good buddy Charlie Notman. And I was out there one Sunday afternoon, and in walks Tucker Frederickson.
Wow.
And hey, he looked like, and everybody just said, "Hey, it's Tucker Frederickson," and still in college. I'll tell you another story in a minute. And with him was Jimmy Seidel.
Yeah.
You heard of him? He was a quarterback,
yeah.
Jimmy Seidel.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Is it Jimmy Seidel? I think I'm right about Jimmy Seidel. Is that right? All right. And he was the quarterback, and he came out of Birmingham. And the other one was none other than Cash Moore. You ever heard that name, Cash Moore?
No.
Have you ever been to Fort Walton Beach, Florida?
Yeah, he has Cash's package store.
All those Cash's package stores.
That's him?
Oh, yeah. He used to go to school at Troy. And he had a girlfriend. I don't think she would mind. His girlfriend that he met from Troy that he was so crazy about was a girl named Betty Davis. And she lived up there on the corner of Orion Street and Orange Street. And that's where she lived. And he came to town to see Betty Davis with Tucker. For the reason that they were hanging around him, he had so much money. Even in college, he had so much money.
He was a natural entrepreneur.
They called him Cash Moore, and of course, he went to Troy.
Oh, that's not his real name. That was his nickname.
Yeah, that's right, his nickname. And
I guess so.
He, but everybody.
Do they still have those Cash's package stores down there?
Oh yeah.
They got them everywhere, and they got bars inside
They have a place called Cash's Faux Bar.
Those places are iconic.
And his, his daughter, he puts her on all his signs and all that. But
so did you talk to him when you saw him?
Oh yeah, I talked to him, and I'll tell you another story. Steve McMillan, of course, grew up here, still holds the record for the most points that ever scored in a high school basketball game, 49 against Pike County one day. I was in that game, and he later on went to Auburn. He was he was in the what fraternity was he? And he and Pat Talbot were both in the same fraternity. Well, to make a long story short, McMillan went on into Harvard Law School and Harvard Business School, and became the president and CEO of Sara Lee and a few
in
other
Chicago.
Places. And a few other places.
And Sara Lee, actually, they're not just the pound cakes. They own
a bunch of
scores of companies that you would know. Like
we buy their bread all the time.
Well,
like Legs Pantyhose would be a lot of brands they own.
Well, we were up there for a track meet, and being an old Troy guy, he took me over to Auburn Hall over there where all the Auburn players lived. They lived in a dorm, and this was a track meet, state track meet, and Jerry Allen from right here in Troy won the state high and low hurdles in Class 3A. Now, Class 4A, they had a guy named Richmond Flowers that won the 4A.
They only had 4 classifications.
That's right. And he won the state low hurdles, and he would have won the high hurdles, but he fell down. One of the greatest, though, most admirable things I've ever seen in any sport was it was on the old center track there at Auburn, and when he fell down on the high hurdles, everybody on the track passed him. Instead of laying there and feeling sorry for himself, he got up and finished second. but that night, the night before this all happened, we were over there at Auburn at the Auburn Hall where the team, all the Auburn players, athletes live, and they were banging on an old car. It was an old car, somebody, and they were just busting the windows out, and I don't know what was happening, why they were doing it, but they were just with a sledgehammer, just busting doors open and whatever. And we were watching it through a guy's room that Steve knew, and in a minute, I'm looking out the window, I'm watching, this guy bumps me, and all I turn around, all I see is a big old bicep. And it was Tucker Frederickson. He'd come in, and he said something to the police, and they ran him down. I don't know if he got in trouble or not, but I remember seeing Tucker Frederickson up close that time. But all right, we're working on trivia, Mike. Bob, you got one bump on.
What about you want to recap the weekend in sports? Did you get to go see Troy beat Louisiana Tech?
Well, let me tell you, they beat them twice, but Tech just killed Troy yesterday. Beat Troy 9-0 in their pitcher.
Troy's now 7-1 though. Great start to the baseball season.
Hey, before we get to Troy sports, Michael, did you watch any of the Wilder Fury fight or keep up with the coverage?
Yeah, I had worked the wine festival, and I was worn out. I didn't stay up that late. I was surprised he knocked him out in the seventh. Could have knocked him out in the fifth, they said, but Fury, they said was just a better puncher. I mean, a better fighter. I'd always had heard that. And
Well, he's 6'7", wasn't he? Or
Nine.
6'9".
yeah, Wilder's just
He's
one of the
6'6".
best knockout artists as ever. But I was shocked. I didn't think that he would dominate like he did.
I'll set up the fight. Yeah, I've tuned out boxing for a long time, but I got interested in this Wilder Fury fight because Wilder's from Tuscaloosa, as most people know. I hope.
Yeah, that's right.
Still lives there, and he's undefeated. Had one tie in his previous a couple fights ago against Fury, who is from Great Britain. You know, he's a great white hope who's 6'9", but can really fight. And Fury was beating Wilder in their last fight. Everybody said until in the 12th round, Wilder hit him with two punches that people said are the most devastating punches they've ever seen. Laid Fury out, and just like in the movie Rocky, somehow people do not know how he did it, but he got up at the count of 9.
Yeah.
And he survived the round, and it was a draw. That set up the rematch, and because of the way that fight ended, suddenly it became a huge deal. This Wilder that hardly anybody was talking about, or Fury for that matter, suddenly they become household names, and everybody thought that Wilder would win again, and then they say that Fury dominated. He wasn't knocked out. His corner threw in the towel in the 7th round.
He wasn't knocked out.
He wanted to keep
He
fighting.
just quit. No boss.
No, his corner threw in the towel and said, they're trying to save his life, I guess.
Did the guy really wear him out?
From everything I gather, he did.
Yeah, I mean, he'd already knocked him down twice.
Well, you know who's heartbroken is your sister. Your sister loved old Wilder.
Rebecca Amos is in the boxing somehow.
Let me give y'all some. I saw Wilder. ESPN owned the pay-per-view rights on this fight, so they have been promoting the heck out of it for months. Do y'all remember that they interviewed Fury right before or at halftime of the LSU Clemson National Championship game? He's quite a character, so much so that he came into the ring wearing the King's outfit. People were carrying him on some kind of platform. You know what song they were playing when he entered the ring? You'd never guess in a million years.
Good.
Well, you might guess. The number one popular jukebox seller single of all time. And you own a jukebox.
Oh, gosh. Dream Lover?
Close.
He came in with American Pie or
That's what he left to, is they were playing Bye Bye Miss American Pie after he won. But the song he came into was Patsy Cline's Crazy.
Crazy.
Everybody comes into this rap music, and here's this guy playing this country staple.
Yeah, the guy is crazy because he said he wanted to taste Wilder's blood, and during the fight, he was licking the blood off Wilder.
One time he did.
Wilder, I always thought Wilder was more of a boxer than this guy was. He couldn't.
This guy's
a one-hit
boxer for a guy his size. That people marvel at his technique.
And he's 6'9" and weighs how much?
Well, he added 20 pounds before this fight, so he weighed in at 273.
Oh, man.
The crazy thing, he'd almost gotten up to 500 pounds.
What?
Yeah, he lost all kinds of weight.
You mean he almost weighed 500 pounds?
Yeah, he had all kinds of health issues.
Mike, no way.
I think he overcame bad drug issues, and he's quite a story.
Well, those English fighters.
He's only 31.
Yeah.
But so
you can't feel sorry for Wilder though. He got $25 million.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And then he also got some of the pay-per-view money as well, so he'll probably make $35-40 million.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, do you think it?
And they got a rematch clause guaranteed.
I was just wondering would you see him again or will he retire?
No, you'll see a 3.
How old is he?
34,
34, I think.
34, and does he live in Birmingham or Tuscaloosa?
Tuscaloosa.
Born and raised, lives in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Well,
when he first won the heavyweight championship, he had it for 4 or 5 years, which is impressive. But he wanted to come back and fight in his hometown of Tuscaloosa, You know that University of Alabama Athletic Department would not let him fight in Coleman Coliseum, and so he went and did it in the BJCC in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca went to those fights.
Yeah. Well, one thing about Alabama though, it's so structured to be a basketball court. They can't move back a lot of stuff. I don't even know if they can move back any.
They probably had their reasons, but I would have made it happen if I could have.
Oh yeah, that would have been something. Well, the worst mistake they've ever made in their life, and I know it would create a logjam sometimes, but why in the world they buried Bear Bryant in Birmingham? Why didn't they bury him right outside the stadium? You reckon they felt like it'd be a logjam?
Well, Coach Bryant, he had already bought that plot for some reason, some family reasons, I guess.
Somebody told me he didn't want all the controversy all the crowds every weekend.
Probably did. Well, they still get them in Birmingham.
Controversy or not? You're right. You think many people go see it?
Yeah, I've read stories.
It's just a very plain grave. I've been there.
It's like Hank Williams Sr.'s grave in the Montgomery Cemetery, right next to Patterson Field.
And a boy from Troy woke him up one day, didn't he? And won a state championship. Mike named that young man.
Won a state championship?
Yeah, beat Coleman for the state championship, and he was out of Charles Henderson High School of Troy. He dominated that state tournament, and he hit the home run that woke up old Hank. Do you know his name?
I mean, I saw Smart hit a home run. Who else hit a home run?
Charles Henderson won a state championship.
Wendell Stevens hit one to win a national
championship. No, we're talking about Charles Henderson High School of Troy.
So you're talking about Levi Garrett's team?
You know this great player. Yeah, you know this great player that played for him.
I went to that game, I think.
Who was it, Van Horn?
Van Horn hit the home run that woke up old Hank, Mike.
You always said Wendell Stevens.
Well, Wendell was at center field. Van Horn hit one to left field.
I thought Wendell was to left field.
I was there, and Mike was there too. Mike was there way past his bedtime. Isn't that right?
Wendell hit it into the kudzu.
The great Wendell Stevens. I would be tickled if he was watching.
Hey, Wendell is more famous than Ted Clem for that home run.
Well, oh gosh! Somehow somebody woke up old Big Al over there. What did you say, Mike?
I said somebody had a house on top of that kudzu.
That's right.
Above Patterson, you used to always see them.
That's right. The kudzu. That's right.
In their lawn chairs.
I think that house is still there.
That's right. They used to charge people to come sit there, and they would bring the coolers, and it was a perfect place to watch it.
I remember those games that Wendell played in. That when you had the Division II World Series in Montgomery. Man, they were packed.
Back-to-back World Series, and Chase Riddle's team won both of them, and those were thrills that you could never outlive. You could write a story about Mike Perez, who pitched the one-hitter against Columbus College.
He was so good.
It was.
He made it to the big leagues, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let me tell you, he pitched for the Cardinals. He did something that they said might not ever be done. In the minor leagues, he had 52 saves.
Oh my God!
Playing for the team out of who was it, Mike? That he with the Cardinals, he played that farm team.
He played for Memphis. I think that's their farm.
No, not Memphis. It wasn't Memphis. It was
Louisville.
Mike Perez, I remember him.
He pitched for the Louisville Cardinals. You're right.
Then Danny Cox pitched for a long time for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Well, you had the catcher and Perez both made it up through the Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly.
Stevens.
Yeah, that's right. He was, and he was a very good one. No question about it.
I remember that Chase had several teams that made it to the World Series before we finally won one. I mean, they went out to California, and
that's right. They used to play out in California, and then when they were going to play here for the first time, they put more people in Patterson Field than it's ever been before. They actually had to shut it down, fire marshal and all that.
That's why Montgomery bid for hosting that thing.
That's right, and he.
Because they knew Troy was so good.
But we played Valdosta the week before. We had beaten them 11-1 and won the regional title. And we were playing Valdosta State. Of course, they were good, but we had beaten them, I think, twice that year, and they beat us something like 14-1, something like that, and sort of embarrassed us. And then the next game, I think we won, and then the next game we lost. But those are a lot of fun to watch. Those
used to
teams
always
play.
play teams like Tampa, Florida Southern.
Oh yeah,
Mississippi
great
State.
programs.
That's right.
All good programs.
All these programs, you know. That were
Mississippi
great.
College was good. You remember how good Mississippi College was? And Delta State and Jacksonville. All those guys were good.
Columbus College was good. Yeah, there's a lot of good programs.
All right, but let me throw out something to you, Mike, and you'll get a kick out of this. He played first base, and he limped around the bases. He came from what town in Florida? And he's going into the Troy Sports Hall of Fame.
I don't know what town he came from. I know you're talking about Jude Rinaldi.
Jude Rinaldi, the great Jude Rinaldi, goes into the Troy University Hall of Fame on April 25th, and nobody deserves it more than he does.
He was good. Yeah, I remember him.
He had a torn up knee, and I tell you who he reminded me of was the Detroit. Well, he wasn't playing for Detroit then; he was playing for Los Angeles then.
Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, Kirk Gibson. It was about like Kirk Gibson. He had a bad knee, but he hit, I think in the series, hit 3 or 4 home runs, maybe 5, and knocked in about 10 or 12 runs to just practically almost personal, first-handed the victory. And
Troy was going up against that great New York Yankees player, Tito Martinez,
that's right.
for Tampa.
Yep, he played first base.
Those were some good. I used to remember the Birmingham News would have Alabamians in the minors in their Sunday edition. So it's people from Alabama that either played college baseball at Alabama or from Alabama towns. And then you'd see how they were doing in the minor leagues.
That's
and I
right,
used to count them, and Troy had more than Alabama and Auburn
they sure did.
playing in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I used to look at that too, and I look at it now, and you know where they're all from, Mike. You'll get a kick out of this.
South Alabama or something?
No, they're all from that junior college in Mariana. The great junior college there in Mariana. Mike, what's the name of it?
Well, there's some great junior college baseball in Alabama.
Let me tell you something. They dominate, and the guy that coaches for them, we're talking about, what's the name of that junior college, Mike, where all those guys went? It was so good.
Are you talking about Chipola?
Chipola, exactly. Chipola Junior College. They put more players in the majors than anybody else, and they don't make it to Alabama and Auburn and
they get them before they get there.
They get them before they get there. But when we interviewed Bobby Pierce for the job at Troy, we also interviewed this guy, and I mean, he was impressive. I said, that guy reminded me of Pat Dye. I said, that guy's the head coach. I think he's won 6 or 7 national championships since then. He was, and he's just a good old country guy.
He doesn't try to put on airs.
What I'm saying, he's just a Pat Dye type, chew tobacco and whatever, and by the way, QV Lowe, talking about chewing tobacco, QV Lowe, the AUM coach, goes into the Hall of Fame, the Division II Hall of Fame, this year. And boy, what a great coach he was. You remember QV Lowe, Mike?
I remember his wife, Ginger Lowe.
Yeah, Ginger Lowe. He married the volleyball coach at Troy, the softball coach at Troy, and the rest is. But now, let me ask you this. This is another good trivia question. I'm gonna get a bonk out of this.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Who is QV Lowe's roommate and oh shoot.
Good answer.
At Gulf Coast College in Panama City, the answer was Don Sutton. And QV Lowe were roommates in junior college, and Sutton decided he's gonna go and try his shot at the majors with Los Angeles Dodgers, and the QV decided he'd go to Auburn and play baseball, and the rest is history. QV ended up being an outstanding baseball coach.
Well, here's a trivia question.
And
then
Don
I don't
Sutton,
know.
Don Sutton from out here at Slough, Alabama, they called it Slough. He was actually born and went to what famous high school baseball team in Florida, Mike?
Panhandle of Florida.
Well, just for Florida period.
He played in Pensacola at Tate.
Yeah,
didn't he?
that's right. Tate High School.
But how old was he when he moved from Clio down to Florida? That's
About 4 or 5.
Oh, I thought he was much older. I thought he was like
No.
11 or 12.
No, well, we can get his uncle on the phone if we have to. And his brother lives here in town too. But he didn't. They moved. The family moved to Pensacola when he was a young child. I know that.
Well, Clio claims him, but I thought Clio he lived in Clio longer. Maybe I don't
No,
know.
I don't think so.
He must have come back and visited often.
Well, you know, his brother lives right here. He's at every Troy baseball game, and great guy. And
Class act.
yeah, no question about it. We're having fun. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back.
I've always liked Don Sutton. And he
Got a double loose right here. You gonna go get some? That's a big cup of coffee now. Dang. How you doing, Mike?
Not a lot, dude. I'm pretty worn out. It's been
Piggly Wiggly's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA choice beef is the most consistently tender, juicy, and flavorful beef you can buy, all at cost plus 10%.
Lady L. They're a huge country music act. It's him and a girl and another guy playing guitar, but they're one of the biggest acts in country music. He has a place at Alice.
Thank you.
He was a super nice guy.
Oh, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody's doing well today. Oh, they're laid back. This is laid back television at its very best.
now everybody knows what we do during the breaks. I go and
From
get coffee.
Troy, Alabama, on South Bruntage Street. Ladies and gentlemen, we're down here in our studio at Troy Cablevision, one of the great cable companies in America, and we're coming to you live by way of Facebook. And I told the guy the other day, I said, "Hey, you know, today you were seen by over 1 billion people." What? I said, you were seen by over 1 billion people on Facebook. They could have seen you, and they could go right now to Facebook and watch any of your old programs, but see you right here on
And on
live
Troy Cable
television.
proper, we're on 12 in 12 counties.
That's right. And, of course, we're growing in Montgomery more and more, growing in Dothan more and more, and Enterprise more and more.
Let me ask you a question about Don Sutton.
Lake Eufaula more and more.
His brother might call in. I've always heard that, he played for the Dodgers forever with Steve Garvey and all those great Dodger greats. But I heard that Don Sutton and Steve Garvey got into a fight one time.
Really?
And Steve Garvey looked like he was famous for those big muscles, and Sutton wore him out.
The old country boy wore him out.
Mm-hmm.
Garvey was a big old strong looking guy, big old forearms. He had forearms that looked like who, Mike?
Popeye.
You're right. These guys know they look like Popeye. And what did Popeye eat that made him have those big old forearms?
Spinach.
Spinach. You knew that, didn't you?
He thought, Popeye, that's how they are, man. That was a popular cartoon when I was a kid, but you don't see it anymore.
You know, it's so easy to put together little answers like that. So, Mike, right now you just have one bonk against you.
I think that might have been one of the first movies that Robin Williams did after he was in Mork and Mindy.
He was
played
perfect for
he
that,
played
wasn't he?
Popeye.
He would work perfect for that.
But
Why did he kill himself? Isn't that terrible?
the movie he was really good in.
Horrible depression.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
battled it. But the movie he was really good in, another one of his first movies, was The World According to Garp, which was a John Irving novel.
Who is your favorite, him or John Belushi, or Candy? Who's your
I like
favorite?
Belushi.
Belushi's got to be up
Boy,
there.
well, Animal House. Hey, with Animal House, you remember him doing this?
Williams was an acquired taste because it was all spur of the moment improvisation. He didn't have prepared material. He could talk about anything and would go 100 miles. Kind of like Jonathan Winters. He could go and do any character you could think of.
Well, what he was famous for. This is what he was famous for. Good Morning Vietnam. That's the movie. That's where
he was famous
that
for
was
a lot.
his top performance. Don't you agree?
One of the ones he's best known for, yeah.
But
Probably the one he's best known for.
Life and Goodwill Hunting.
good morning, Troy, Alabama. Across the world, you folks in Seattle, good morning to you. I know it's early out there, and down in Laredo, Texas, I know it's bad down there too today.
I got a topic Mike, I bet you can speak about, both of y'all.
We need to mention the Troy women's girls basketball team. We never talk about them. They're 22-4.
They're very good. They're very good. For some reason, I can't get her to come on my show, Mike. She just will not come on my show. I don't know. Maybe for some reason, I don't know. But
they're in front of a crowd of 2,100 fans, fifth largest ever to see the women play. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. The senior class has won 84 games.
Yeah, exactly. They are very good, no question about it. I don't know. I don't know why we don't talk about them more. Talk about her husband a lot.
It really is amazing what she's accomplished at Troy. Of course, the men played. I guess we didn't do a show Friday night. Played at Coastal Carolina, and Cliff Ellis beat Troy by 30.
Did they beat him that bad?
Yeah, beat Troy 90-60, and then Troy played a lot better against Appalachian State, but still got beat 68.
And Troy beat him in Troy too. See, that's the thing about it.
Yeah, Troy got beat by Appalachian State Saturday, 68-59. So Troy now is 9-21.
I listened to that game on the radio and watched some of the Troy baseball game from left field. And the thing I like about left field, man, I love those ribs, and I love that country sausage, and I love. We ought to get it. We ought to get a debate. Which is the best? Which is the best sausage out there? Would you say Kanaka? Or would you say Kelly's? I say Kelly's.
I'm a big Kanaka fan.
I say Kelly's. Link sausage. Because they still have the big links. I don't like the little skinny links. I like the big links that pop in your mouth.
I'm going to go with Kelly's. I'm from Elbow, aren't they?
They used to be. I don't think anymore. They got bought out.
Our lines are open, and ladies and gentlemen, Kelly's Barbecue from Alabama.
Emory Ellis works for them now.
They're building a giant building. They have been bought out. Kelly's now is under new ownership. Some outfit that spent a bunch of money. Yeah. They're building a huge factory in New Brockton, Alabama. It's going to be good for the economy. They're going to hire a lot of folks, and it's going to be great. Have you ever been to the new sawmill here in Troy?
Yes.
Can you believe that?
No, everybody needs to ride by out there and look at it. It's awesome. It's amazing.
For one thing, you better find out how to get to it. It's the craziest thing in the world. I take a right, and I end up over there at Keith Rowland's house.
Well, take the right by that church that's near the super huge billboard that says Troy University, Alabama's most beautiful campus.
Yeah.
Right near on the side of the road with the airport. If you go past that, there's the next paved road right by this little church is a cutaway that takes you up to Meeksville and back towards Lockheed Martin Road.
That's right.
And that road will take you right by the new sawmill.
Yeah.
Rex Lumber is the
Rex Lumber is here.
And it's I learned about it recently. I think they are going to invest $40 million, maybe even more than that, into this sawmill, which I think that no company has ever invested more money in one business in Troy at one time than Rex Lumber.
It's huge. Also, out in that same general area, a big pipe, I want to say it's a pipe company. I could be wrong. Where the old, I call them shacks now, they're about dilapidated, but that little village there's a little village there right across from that. They bought the land from the guy that owned the village, and he got a big smile on his face right now.
Good.
And they're building another industry right there. So I tell you, Troy is pretty impressive right now. The Kimber is the big gun manufacturing company, and I'm going to bring them on our show before long, and they make guns, handguns, and I
Rifles.
reckon rifles too. You know,
Hunting rifles. They're the upper end. People that are really into the gun world know that the Kimber is a high-end brand I think they're real popular with certain police departments. But yeah, Kimber from New York, just outside of New York City, is moved down to Troy.
Exactly. And right now,
Auburn went at home against Tennessee. They came back from 15 down. Alabama shocked Ole Miss on the road and won by over 25. So Alabama bounced back from their loss to A&M and won at Oxford. Your favorite coach, Kermit Davis, got kicked out of the game with 2 technical fouls.
did he really? I hate that. He's drawing a little attention, though. That's why those, and I'm sure when he walked off, they were saying, "Hotty toddy." What'd you say?
You can't figure out Alabama. I mean, they scored 103 points. That's the third time this year they've gone over 100. Alabama's one of the highest scoring teams in America.
That was the most points they've ever scored on a road
In the SEC?
in the whole history, of Alabama basketball. And the SEC with the SEC schedule.
So that impresses us. Alabama scored 103, but remember 2 weeks ago we were talking about the Maestri 258-point team. That team would score 110, and you wouldn't even think anything about it.
You know, you're a freelance writer. That'd be good to bring that back
That
up. I would
it's
think
the 30-year
I would
anniversary.
think anybody that would say that just name it 258 and put it on the outside, 258, and it would sell out at all the box
I
office.
tell you what, there's a lot of people that lied and said they were at that game. I know.
Well, Max Howell might have, because what would Max Howell have done being there? Max Howell wouldn't have been there. He said he went. I wonder why he would have been there, because that was in the 90s, wasn't it? Wait, what was the date on it?
Well, see, the thing is, it was 92, and it was like on a random Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm almost 100% sure that was on a Sunday.
And I'm going to tell you something else that's special about it. It snowed that day. It would snow on the ground outside.
I think you're right. I was the sports editor of the Messenger. I went to every Troy home game, and I built up the hype for that game. I wrote stories saying, now listen, Troy they ain't making any excuses. They are going to try to break 200 points
before the game. Is that right?
Yes, Coach Maestri. The whole point of scheduling this team was we're going to go for 200 points against this team. He wanted attention for the university and for his team, and he wanted to sell tickets. So I hyped it as much as I could in the days before it with my newspaper articles, and it had a pretty good crowd for a Sunday afternoon. So people knew what Troy was going to try to do, and darn if they didn't do it.
I really believe it'll be.
I can't believe you said back in the day that the visiting teams would stay in Sartain overnight.
Yeah, they would stay downstairs. Back then, I don't think they were staying overnight, but the first 10 or 15 years that it was there, a lot of the teams from up north would spend the night there because.
I wonder if they even had a TV in there for them or anything.
Oh, well, I don't know, but I'll tell you this: there were bunk beds down there and roll-away beds and whatever. And a lot of the teams from up north that would come traveling through would spend the night there. I don't know if they charged them or not.
Probably didn't.
In the bottom of Sartain Hall, and I remember that very well. And that they did that. And
well, that was nice that they did it. And I mean, these teams don't make money. I mean, that's the point. 99% of athletic programs lose money. Always have. So anything you can do to help them save money.
And let's just say it was a conference game. They play on Saturday and play again on Monday. That's the way they used to do it. They said that'd been perfect for somebody to be able to spend the night there and go to the game.
Well, I know that a lot of northern baseball teams come down.
That's right.
They make the circuit. They make the circuit because it's still snow on the ground.
Hope College, teams from Michigan, all over.
Come down through the South.
And most every one of them used to spend the night there. You're right. And it was nothing fancy, but they had showers and bathrooms.
They didn't care, did they?
You know, I'm sure they'd throw them a ball, a basketball, and they could shoot basketball until it was time to go to bed, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm sure that they bought food probably from the school or whatever, you know. But that's the way it was.
That's good.
You know, we're talking sports this morning, and tell me about the golf.
I was going to mention also, you know, Troy basketball, you know, this happened, I guess, a couple games ago, but Darian Adams, the big 6'4" guard out of Carver of Montgomery, he's left the program. So
Why did he leave the program?
I don't know. He was the leading scorer most of the season. I guess he got in the doghouse or something happened, but he's no longer with the team. So going to be interesting to see more guys cross keeps. You know, if this is a one-year scholarship deal or how this is going to work, because he's going to have to bring in a lot of really good players.
Was Darren Adams a senior or was he a junior?
He was only a junior.
Tell you what, he's good. He to me, he's one of their very best players.
What is number 00? What class is he?
Yeah, he's good too.
He is good. I like the way he plays.
He's strong. Baker.
You talking Gordon?
Gordon. Yeah.
Gordon.
Yeah, he's a junior college guy.
You know, I think if they let him alone, he could score 30 points a game. He's an offensive
real
guy.
competitive, and I like the way he takes it seriously. And he
he
doesn't look like a typical basketball player, but he can score.
Looks like a linebacker,
Yeah.
but he's hard nosed. There's no question about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. Have you ever eaten a hamburger or chicken from that great place right there?
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't. And you talk about their French fries are what's so good.
Exactly right, and we appreciate them being a part of our show. Want to also mention our good friends at the Troy Regional Medical Center, one of the outstanding medical facilities for the size town we have in America. We appreciate them very much. We'll be back.
Maybe not. I'm not going to go back and get any more coffee because we're out of coffee.
Want to mention Circle. Want to mention Circle Insurance in
We've been on tape
Ozark,
commercial all day.
and we appreciate.
No, we're still on the air.
We're still on the air.
I know what I want to talk about. We don't have enough time for this show, but next show or in the future. Movie roles that you could not picture the movie without one of the actors or actresses being in a certain part. For example, who could picture Gone with the Wind without Clark Gable
That's
playing?
right. Who else could say, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn?
Who could picture the movie
it, yeah.
Casablanca without Humphrey Bogart in the main role?
What was his one line, or what did he say?
Well, there's 100 in that movie. Here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah, that's right.
This looks like the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
I'm sure going to ask how many times on this show we've tried to go to commercial break and nobody can get us to commercial break.
I know it.
Well, Steve's running the whole cable company.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with him. He's the boss. Hey, listen, he could fire me. He could fire me. She pulled my hair. Hey, what
would you do at 72? Could you find work?
I don't know, but maybe somewhere.
Yes, you could.
They might let me sweep up this place. Hey, she pulled my hair.
That's what.
What movie?
What is it? Tell me.
Basic coal miner's daughter.
You golly, he got it.
I love that.
Sissy Spacek.
Now,
Coal
speaking of my
miner's daughter.
question, who could picture anybody else but Sissy Spacek playing Loretta Lynn? Did she nail that role or not?
All right, real quick, right?
Did you know it's going to be freezing in Troy 3 days this week?
I know it. It's going to probably be freezing down in your place too.
There's an editor there's a character in the famous movie you talk about all the time. Somebody asks who he is, and he says, "Well, I'm the editor, I'm the journalist, and I also sweep up the joint every night." That's the newspaper owner in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Who shot Liberty Valance? He was the bravest of them all.
He's the guy that
We'll be back
encouraged
right after this.
Liberty to run for Senate. Not Liberty, Rance Stoddard.
Yeah. Okay, back to our show. Quality Roofing, Jeff. Have you ever been to downtown Goshen and seen that big house there?
Yes, I've been down to Goshen many times.
That's Jeff's place. And of course, he's a roofer and one of the very best. Hook's Barbecue. Let me tell you this. It was cold the other night, and I said, I got to do something. And so I went and bought some camp stew a big old quart of camp stew. Paid $15 for it. No, excuse me. I paid $8 for it. $8.
Good.
And man, I had a wonderful meal, and I bought two. That's right, I bought two, and of course I bought the ribs, and they're delicious, and so
That
forth.
event my wife went to Saturday night at the Emporium, she said that Rooks catered it.
Gosh, was this open to the public, or who?
Not, well, all they asked you to do was give a donation to their charity they were
Gosh,
supporting.
I would have loved to go and eat the ribs. No question. I rode by there.
Yeah, this is a good, question to ask the public, or ask, I guess, just us. Like, what restaurant in Troy from your past you wish could be open today? What would be your favorite choice of restaurant, or your favorite restaurant?
Just in Pike County or anywhere?
I'm gonna name a couple of them.
No, just in Troy, Pike County, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
go
gonna name a couple of them. One of them was that spaghetti place, Mike, over there on University, that had the spaghetti.
On University, spaghetti.
Well, and it was also located across town too. Green Sandwich Shop. From growing up,
You always talk about greens.
yeah, but you
Nobody
couldn't
had
get Greens.
a hamburger like them anywhere in America, did they?
That's right. Your daddy just raved over the hamburgers.
I got to eat them enough. They were still open when I was a little kid.
They were just little bitty patty, and you come in and you'd ask for one, and you bring this. They take this little ball of meat and stick out there and smash it down, flip it over a couple of times, and then put a little sauce on it. And they take those buns that were. You could grab those buns, just squeeze them into a ball. They were so. What would you call
So
it?
much steam in them.
I used to love Pizza Village and Rooks. I used to love both of those.
Yeah, Cheryl Crow's Rooks pizza.
Yeah, Pizza Village too.
Yeah,
Talking about Camp Stew made me think of Wilson's Barbecue had the best Camp
they
Stew.
really did. Wilson's Barbecue. I would think that if there was a poll made, especially with people that went to school at Troy, Wilson Barbecue would be the winner.
And great barbecue too. Yeah.
Exactly. And my good man,
A lot of my buddies worked at Mark's Barbecue. That was one of my favorites growing up.
I forgot about that.
Mark's Barbecue. I don't remember Mark's.
Mark's Barbecue is right next to First Baptist Church.
Gosh, Mike.
Yeah, all my buddies worked there at Mark's Barbecue. There were several restaurants in that building.
Well, you had the Red Wave, and then you had the Dairy Delight that Mr. Nonaman had.
Yeah, both of those were good.
What about the Pines? I'm sure a lot of people in Troy miss that.
I would think they do miss the Pines. It was really good. No question about it. Great steak.
Especially when it was on the lake.
Great steak.
But that's when we called it Nelson's by the Lake. Is what our family called it.
That was it. Nelson by the Lake.
We went. That was one of our regular places we went.
Know that place real well.
A lot of people will remember Western Sizzler back in the day.
Yeah, but Willie Coughlin's Western Sizzler was really good.
Then he had Mr. J's. A lot of people went there.
What was
I
the
don't
first?
remember
What
Mr.
was the
J's.
first nationally franchised fast food restaurant that came to Highway 231?
Ruby Tuesdays?
No, hamburger place.
Oh, hamburger place.
It had to be McDonald's, I think.
That's what everybody would think, but it was not.
Burger King?
No.
Hardee's?
Burger King came way later.
Hardee's.
Hardee's was there.
Yeah, Hardee's used to have the best playground ever. We used to have a lot of birthdays out
That's
there.
right.
I forgot all about that. They did.
Let me tell you something that people don't. Best hot dog in town. Hardee's is the best hot dog in town with
What
chili.
am I talking about? Everybody still talks about it this day. Every time I talk to Andy Falk, he's upset about it. Mr. Hose was legendary.
Oh yeah, Mr. Hose was really good, no question about it. A lot of college kids.
Oh
went
yeah,
to
my
Mr. Hose.
wife loved Mr. Hose.
And the food was good, no question about it. And I tell you again, Hardee's a hot dog. If you love the onions and you love the chili, it was a wonderful hot dog.
I don't know why
Still is. They still make that hot
Hardee's
dog.
messed with their formula so many times and changed their menu so many times that it turned off people. But at one time, they had it perfect. They had those hot dogs. They had roast beef sandwiches that were really good. And then they had their burgers.
Oh,
They used to have fried chicken that was pretty good.
They had,
y'all.
We didn't even talk about the Country Kitchen. That was legendary.
Oh,
The
gosh.
Country Kitchen, yeah.
Well, everything that's sisters came from the Country
Country
Kitchen.
Kitchen, that's right.
Mary Finley did that.
Troy Bank and Trust Company. How many? 3 locations in Troy, Mike. How many other ones? Quickly.
I don't know. I think there's 12 locations.
Arrington, New Brockton, Enterprise, Elba, Goshen. Look here, I'm moving. Auburn, Dothan. Boy, we're just and 3 locations in Troy. Troy Bank and Trust Company.
I got how many in Brundage? One?
And 1 in Brundage.
I saw Jeff Curvin recently, and I told him, I said, we're talking about Troy Bank and Trust in many locations, and he was with Diana Lee, and they said, name them. And I could only name 9, so I failed my test.
Yeah, well,
but they said, he said, we actually got 11 or 12 and a half because they have bought a place in Dothan downtown, a famous, well-known institution bank in Dothan, that they are converting or getting permission to make a Troy Bank and Trust.
They also have one out by Flowers Hospital too. That's very nice bank too. So Dothan is growing. Troy Bank and Trust Company is growing with Dothan Dixie Dental, and we appreciate them so much.
Well, Michael, I give you the medal for the best question. That is a great question.
Well, now let me tell you this:
that we miss that everybody wishes was still around.
I will tell you this.
Yeah, I always enjoyed Country's barbecue. We went there a lot. I was always surprised.
I like Country's barbecue. I love their French fries too. The way they cut the French fries.
Hand cut fries, and they had really good salads too.
Yeah,
man, that building is still empty. What is it?
I can't understand it. Somebody either they want a bunch of money for it, or that's a great location.
Who owns the property?
And I love. Let me tell you what I liked about that place too. They had vinegar. Their barbecue sauce was a vinegar blend. You know, a lot of vinegar, and I love that.
That's the #1 traffic count in Troy. The intersection of Highway 231 and 167.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else. Some big things are happening. Even though I'm not a big connoisseur, I ate the other day. I ate a chicken sandwich there the other day, but. Located right there where you turn to go into, the new shopping center that we've got, the Publix. What's that restaurant right there on the side, right there, the chicken restaurant? Popeyes, yeah. Let me tell you what Popeyes is doing.
Goldfinger's, I thought it was.
Well, I know it. Popeyes is not a sponsor, but I will throw in a plug here. Popeye is starting to do something very unique. They got a new product. Y'all know what it is?
Yep.
Well, I've heard all about it. Their chicken sandwich.
No, the chicken sandwich is good, but what is it, Rice?
Oh, I've heard that they just introduced the chicken sandwich several months ago, and it's been a game changer for their bottom line.
They're like competing against Chick-fil-A.
Well, go ahead. What else is that?
They're oh boy, they've come out with a new product that is really, really good. I want y'all to name it.
Shrimp.
Yep. They serve shrimp now.
Shrimp is.
They serve shrimp, and I think 8 or 10 shrimp for $6 or something. It's really reasonable.
No, I don't eat at Captain D's that much, but
How good those shrimp taste?
I don't know. They do have a good chicken sandwich, but they're now serving shrimp at.
The story I read said that Popeye's sales have gone up 30% since they introduced this chicken sandwich. You talk about somebody getting the promotion, the guy that said, let's do a chicken sandwich.
Mike, don't you remember the Italian restaurant that we used to go to?
In Troy?
In Troy. They was really good. They were on the university right next to Cheryl Crow's office for a long time. What was the name of it? They had sandwiches. It was a deli. It was a deli.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
It was a deli, and a good deli.
They had the deli over there that was open for years that a lot of people worked at. I can't remember the name of that.
You know, all right. Also over there where they used to have the weightlifting deal over there where David Ingram had the weightlifting place over there.
Yeah.
Right over there in front of his
that was a good little deli. What was it called? I can't remember.
And I tell you, that was a New York deli, and it was really good. And it did tremendous. Now he died, I think.
What was the deli that was downtown that was in the building that had the big fire when I was in junior high or high school? Remember? Not far from City Hall, or but
we're talking about restaurants, ladies and gentlemen,
it was
that were
happening
popular
place for
in
a
Troy
while.
that are no longer in town.
the restaurant at the old grocery store
Monarca, wasn't Monarca's.
that Jerry Beckett's son, Lee Beckett, operated for a while in Brothers Building, Brother Chapman's building.
You talking about that was Harvey's?
Harvey's, it was a bar, but it was also a very good restaurant.
Harvey's. And then how about
Harvey's restaurant became the bar. Yeah, that's right.
All right, how about the one that burned down? That everybody used to go to, a hangout everybody used to go to.
That was a spectacular fire. I just remember because I went down that night and watched the fire, watched them put down the fire.
That food was good. That was a unique place too. I would like to see that place.
And then there was an oyster place right near there downtown. Did that become the Half Shell, or was that the original Half Shell? Or
no, the original Half Shell is where Trojan's on the wing place ended up being. That was the original Half Shell.
Exactly.
So there was an oyster place that Mom and Dad and Riley and Toot Green and us always went, and because Judge Green and my dad loved to eat oysters, buddy. They just suck them right out of the
oh boy, I like
it.
It
was a hole in the. It was a hole in the wall.
That much.
It was a hole in the wall place that always got a score, a health score of like 74, but we still went.
How about Ingram's Restaurant? Do y'all remember Ingram's Restaurant in Troy out on the bypass? And a lot of folks drank coffee there every morning and ate breakfast.
Yeah.
Mr. Grady Ingram, Charles and David's dad.
Wasn't that across the street from the drive-in? The drive-in.
No, that was a hotel there, and he had a restaurant.
We ought to name every restaurant that's been where the original Slosky's Deli was, and now it's Firehouse Subs. That building there has been about 10 places.
Are we on there?
2 more minutes.
2 minutes. He said we just have, no, wait a minute, it was 7:22.
We're getting cheated out of 8 minutes.
We got a clock right here. Oh, okay. Well, we're having fun this morning talking about old restaurants. But, hey, let me tell you this. Birds on downtown Troy's got the best hamburger in town and great food, chicken salad, pimento cheese, a great breakfast. And
what about the Riverside Cafe, Mike?
Yeah.
Now, why was that place called the Riverside Cafe when there ain't no thing?
I don't know. You're exactly right. I agree with you. But it was a famous restaurant, and a lot of people ate there.
That's where I would go when I would visit KK and Hickey.
Yeah.
My grandmother never cooked, so KK and Hickey went out to eat every meal. Like Brother Chapman never ate. Every meal Brother Chapman ever ate was at a restaurant.
Yeah. And a lot of people ate at Ingram's restaurant on the bypass, and it was in Trojan Terrace right up the street from me.
I know where Ingram's is, yeah.
Then there was a barbecue place called Bob's.
I got a buddy to this day that still stops because he loved it so much when he was in Troy, and they did have good burgers. Was Checkers.
Yeah,
Double Driveways. Checker Burger was really popular back then.
Real affordable too. They were cheap burgers.
But I tell you what, the best hamburger in town is that Birds. It is wonderful hamburger, no question about it. And we appreciate all of our sponsors out there.
The best bacon I've ever had.
Yeah.
And Birds has the best bacon.
Oh,
well, they do. Their bacon is wonderful. Their
Thanks,
bacon.
compliments to you.
That's Kelly's too. Now they use Kelly's.
Their bacon, I don't know what that skillet has in it, but it's unbelievable.
It is, man. You're making me hungry. I can smell it right now.
One of the best stories I did at the Troy Citizen, I worked the hardest on. I did a story on the history of Highway 231.
Yeah.
How important that highway has been to Troy, and controversial in some ways. But I counted the businesses that I could find on Highway 231 in, say, 1963. Then I counted them whenever I did the story, which, say, was 1997. And it was, I'm going from memory, but I'm going to say there were 140 businesses that fronted Highway 231.
Yeah.
And back when, in the early 60s, there might have been 7.
We got 1 minute left.
And then you count the fast food restaurants, just... What?
Yeah, no question.
30 or 40.
And then the first restaurant you come to going up the hill was Ingram's Restaurant, who when the bypass moved back outside, Grady Ingram was one of the first people to put his business up there. Ingram's Restaurant for years was a quality place to eat.
Well, Wilson's was
it.
Out in the sticks, everybody says. You went to Wilson's Barbecue, you were going out in the country.
Yeah, that was until they got the 4-lane, and then it made a big difference. Great place to eat. We have fun. I hope you're enjoying it. We'll see you tomorrow.